The call came at 8:14 a.m., right as I reached my desk. My sister's voice cracked through the phone. "She's missing. Maya's missing. Please come." My chest tightened. My niece was only 10. I shot up so fast my chair slammed into the cabinet behind me. That's when Harold stepped out of his glass office, eyes sharp like cold steel. "Sit down," he barked. "We're in the middle of quarterly prep." I whispered, "My niece is missing." He raised his voice so the entire department heard. "Family issues aren't an excuse. If you walk out, don't bother coming back." People froze. Screens went silent. Even the HVAC hum felt like it stopped. Rain slammed the windows behind him, loud and cruel. My hands shook, but something inside me steadied. I grabbed my coat. Harold smirked. "You're done here." He fired me like he was flicking lint off his suit. I pushed through the doors, my breath fogging in the cold hallway. The elevator chimed, and my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me swipe. A soft, frightened voice spoke. "Hi, my name is Lena. I think I need your help." The call wasn't about Maya at all. It was about something bigger. Something life-changing. To continue, please smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our revenge story. Drop your comments if you've ever been betrayed. "Who is this?" I asked, stepping into the rain-soaked street outside the building. "My name is Lena," she repeated. Her voice trembled like she was forcing every word out. I found your name on an employee forum from your old company." My stomach tightened. "That place?" "After what happened," she continued, "I'm trying to find my biological father. My mom, she passed away 2 months ago. I found some things in her things. And, well, I'm scared." The emotion in her voice pierced me. She sounded young. "Lost." "What does this have to do with me?" I asked gently. She inhaled sharply. "Because the only clue I found says my father might work where you worked." My heart thumped once hard. Before I could speak, she added, "I know this sounds crazy. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for you to tell him anything. I just need someone who knows the place. Someone who won't lie to me." Then her voice cracked. "Please. I don't have anyone else." A notification buzzed. She sent me a picture. It was an old letter. Blurry. Yellowed. The signature at the bottom looked familiar, but I couldn't place it yet. But something told me this wasn't random. The signature finally loaded clearly, and everything changed. The image sharpened on my screen, and the world around me seemed to tilt. That signature. Bold. Slanted. Arrogant. Harold Keaton. My former boss, the same man who humiliated me hours ago, might be this girl's father. I stopped walking. Cars splashed past. A cold drop of rain slid down my spine. I zoomed into the picture, looking for any sign it was fake. But the letterhead? Real. The date? 20 years ago. The wording? Formal, stiff, and unmistakably Harold's voice. Even then. Lena's small voice broke the silence. "Do you recognize it?" I swallowed, choosing every word carefully. "I might." She exhaled shakily. "Can you meet me? Tonight." This was dangerous territory. Messy. Emotional. And Harold wasn't a man who let secrets slip. But I heard the fear in her voice, the same fear I once carried when life felt bigger than me. "I can meet you," I finally said. "Somewhere safe. Public." She whispered, "Thank you. I'll send a location." As I hung up, my pulse hammered. Harold, you hypocrite, you cold, cruel man. Hours ago, he used power to crush me. Now a secret from his past was reaching for the light. Lena sent another message, and this one wasn't just a place. It was a plea. The rain hadn't stopped. It drummed on the cafe windows like restless fingers tapping out warnings. When I walked inside, I spotted her instantly. Lena sat in the corner booth, shoulders small under a worn hoodie, clutching a backpack like it held her whole life. She stood when she saw me. "You came," she whispered, like she didn't expect anyone to keep a promise. We sat. Her eyes were pale blue, but dimmed by exhaustion and grief. She pushed a plastic bag toward me. This was in my mom's storage box. Inside were papers, old hospital forms, a faded photo of her mother, and the letter with Harold's signature. My mom would never talk about him, Lena said, wiping her eyes with her sleeve. But when she got sick, she mentioned someone she should have told me about. This is all I found. Her voice dropped. She died before she could explain anything. The air between us tightened. Then she reached into her bag again and pulled out a sealed DNA test kit. I never mailed it, she whispered. Part of me was scared he might be a monster. The other part was scared he wouldn't want me. My chest ached for her. She looked up, voice quivering. Will you help me? Please? She wasn't just asking for help, she was asking for truth that could shatter both their lives. I leaned back, letting silence settle for a moment. Chicago rain blurred the city lights outside, casting shifting shadows across our table. Lena, I said softly, if we do this, we do it carefully. No confronting him. No surprises. Only facts. She nodded, biting her lip. I don't want to ruin his life. I need to know why he didn't want me. Her voice cracked. I felt something twist in my chest, not revenge, but empathy. Because I knew what it felt like to be dismissed. Forgotten. Treated like nothing. But this wasn't about my pain. This could change everything for him. I warned. Are you ready for that? She looked down at her hands. He already changed everything for me by not being there. I breathed out slowly. She was right. Okay, I said. We uncover the truth. Step by step. Relief washed over her face, so sharply it hurt to see. She clutched the DNA kit like a lifeline. But we do it smart, I added. We gather proof. We protect you. And no matter what we find, we face it together. Her eyes filled with tears, not of sorrow, but hope. Neither of us knew that the first clue was already waiting in the shadows, and it would crack Harold's perfect world open. I spent the next morning in the public library, rain still dripping from my coat. If Harold had a secret this big, it wouldn't be in plain sight. I dug through old HR directories, archived newsletters, employee transitions, even forgotten training logs. Hours passed. Then a pattern emerged, small, almost invisible if you weren't looking for it. 3 women transferred suddenly during Harold's early years. One filed a personal discomfort complaint. Another took a settlement and vanished from the company's records. A final mention, a lawsuit that was quietly withdrawn. The complainant's name was sealed, but the lawyer's name wasn't. Harold didn't just have a daughter he abandoned. He had a history he'd buried. My pulse quickened. The deeper I searched, the more cracks appeared in his shiny corporate empire, like someone had hammered nails into glass long ago, and the weight of truth was finally causing fractures. Then I found it, a name that popped up in an old HR training list, then disappeared completely. Marla Stockton, a senior assistant who had worked right under Harold until suddenly she didn't. My breath caught. This wasn't random. Someone who vanished right after Lena's birth. I found a working phone number for her. I dialed the number 3 times before I got a hesitant hello. The voice was older, cautious. Marla Stockton? I asked. A long pause.
Dig deeper, Brooke. Numbers don't lie. People do. She'd lost her own daughter to a scam. Please click the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a revenge story. Drop your city in the comments if family ever betrayed you. Her voice in my head became steel. I highlighted fraud cases, memorized laws, quizzed myself in the diner bathroom between shifts, tears mixing with grease on my cheeks. My eyes burned like fire, but I kept going. Lily helped with flashcards, tiny fingers tracing words. What's embezzlement, Mommy? I choked. When someone steals from the people who love them. Mason drew red hearts on my notes. I passed midterms, finals, practice exams. When the A flashed, I slid to the tile floor and sobbed. Silent, violent, shoulders shaking. Tyler posted Kaylee on beaches. Champagne. I stared until the screen blurred. I was building something he couldn't touch. My brain. My future. My power. Elena called once. You're ready for CFE. I'll sponsor. I whispered through tears. Thank you. Every late night, every sacrifice, every heartbeat was a brick in my new life. I was becoming unstoppable, and I would make him feel it. I passed the CFE exam with a 94. Top 2% in the nation. The certificate arrived on a gray Tuesday, thick paper, gold seal, my name in bold. That same morning, Tyler posted engagement photos with Kaylee. Her ring, a glittering fist, his smile a blade. I stared at both screens in the motel's yellow light. My certificate. There lie. I laughed. Sharp, broken, real. I drove to the frame shop with $12 left. The clerk raised an eyebrow at my greasy apron. I paid cash. Back home, I hung the certificate above the desk, right where the peeling wallpaper curled. It caught the flickering Christmas lights like a star. Lily tugged my sleeve. Mommy, are we rich now? I knelt, tears hot. Not yet, baby. But we're free. Mason clapped at the shiny frame. Professor Elena Grant texted, 94? Hell yes. Frame it where he'll see it one day. I replied. He will. That night I tucked the kids in, whispered, Mommy did it. Lily asked, will Daddy be proud? My throat closed. He doesn't get to be. I kissed her forehead. The certificate wasn't paper. It was a loaded gun. And I was done missing. The motel room was dark except the laptop's blue glow. An anonymous email slid in, Harlan Logistics seeks external auditor. $250,000 contract. Remote. Use maiden name. I froze. Harlan Logistics. Tyler's empire. My pulse hammered so loud I checked the kids. Lily snoring traffic, Mason curled tight. I read it 3 times. My hands shook over the keys. This was it. The door back in. Not as his wife. As his executioner. I typed, when do I start? Reply came in 47 seconds. Monday. Welcome, B. Harlan. Professor Elena Grant texted instantly. That's your company. Take it. Burn it clean. I forwarded her the email. She called. Brooke, this is divine. Use every tool I taught you. Her voice cracked with pride. I closed the laptop. The room spun. I looked at the framed certificate, the dollar store lights blinking red, green, gold. I whispered to the dark. We're going back. The kids slept. I packed my notes, my evidence, my rage. Tyler had no idea the storm had a name. And it was coming home. Cleveland headquarters rose like a glass cathedral. Sunrise bleeding gold across marble floors. Brittany, Tyler's assistant, ponytail perfect, met me at security. Ms. Harlan? Same last name as the CEO, wild. I smiled. Badge clipped. B. Harlan, lead auditor. Small world. She led me past whispering cubicles to a corner office overlooking the lake. Leather chair, dual monitors, company mug steaming. I set my cracked laptop beside it. Brittany hovered. Mr. Harlan says welcome. Coffee. I nodded. Black. Alone. I opened the server. Passwords unlocked like Elena taught. Backdoor admin, no logs. First file. Payroll. Tyler's bonus. $2.1 million. My breath caught. Brittany returned. He wants a meet and greet. I closed the lid. Schedule through you. She blinked. Left. I stared at the lake. Same water I'd stared at from our old porch, pregnant, nailing shingles. Now I sat in his tower. Professor Elena Grant texted, Day 1. Plant the flag. I replied, Flags in the ground. War starts now. I opened a new doc. Exhibit list. Line 1. Tyler bonus, unapproved. The office smelled like money and fear. I was home. And Tyler still didn't know the ghost had a badge. Before I continue, please smash the like button, subscribe to Obsessive Twist, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our revenge story. Drop comments if you've ever been betrayed. Week 1. The office hummed with printers and panic I couldn't yet hear. I locked my door, cracked my knuckles, and dove into the server like Elena trained me. Follow the money, not the story. Numbers bled red. Then, TH Holdings. $1.2 million wired to the Caymans. Sole signatory. Tyler Harlan. My wedding ring finger twitched. I printed the transfer. Hot paper curled like his lies. Exhibit aid I traced backward. Same account funded Kaylee's ring, the Lamborghini, the lake house Reno. Every brick I'd paid for. Professor Elena Grant called at 2 a.m. Shell Company? Classic. Check the charter date. I did, day after our divorce finalized. My laugh was hollow. I built a timeline on the wall. Sticky notes, red string, photos. Brittany knocked. Mr. Harlan wants your first report. I smiled. Tell him it's cooking. Alone again, I whispered to the printout. Got you. The printer spat page after page. Evidence stacked like bricks. This wasn't anger anymore. This was architecture. And I was building his prison, one wire at a time. Sunshine baked the corporate lawn, checkered cloths flapping, kids shrieking after balloons. Tyler strutted center stage in linen, Kaylee glued to his arm in a white dress that cost more than my old yearly rent. He kissed her for the cameras. This is what winning looks like. Employees clapped like trained seals. I lingered by the salad bar, phone hidden in a napkin. Snap. Exhibit B. Kaylee's ring, Tyler's smirk. Brittany, ponytail tight, clipboard clutched, appeared at my elbow. I know who you are, Brooke. My fork froze mid-air. She slid a tiny flash drive under a burger bun. Tyler's real payroll. I've been copying for 6 months. He demoted me when I asked about TH Holdings. Her eyes were red-rimmed. He threatened my mom's medical insurance if I talked. I palmed the drive. Exhibit B2. She whispered, make him pay for all of us, then turned, fake smiling for a selfie with Kaylee. I zoomed on the ring. Blood diamond. Brittany's secret scorched hotter than the grill. The picnic smelled like betrayal and charcoal.
Harold is untouchable on paper, he murmured. But I've always suspected he isn't perfect. If someone had proof, I didn't interrupt. I let the silence stretch. My mind raced. Lena's mother's photograph, the old letters, the USB files, they were all pieces of the puzzle. I might have something, I said quietly. Enough to make people start asking questions. His eyes widened slightly. Show me carefully. Don't burn anything. You can't risk him knowing you're digging. I nodded, heart pounding. This was the first time an ally inside had confirmed our path. We planned the next steps. Subtle inquiries, questions raised about missing documents, patterns, and decisions. Timing was critical. Any misstep, and Harold would suspect me immediately. Lena squeezed my hand under the table, whispering, "Are we ready?" I met her gaze, calm on the surface, fury and determination underneath. "We're ready," I said. He left the cafe with a warning. There was a file HR had hidden, and it was worse than we imagined. Please smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a revenge story. Drop your comments if you've ever been betrayed. I accessed the hidden HR file that night, every step quiet and deliberate. Documents sprawled across my kitchen table, the city lights casting shadows against the walls. 2 women's testimonies detailed manipulations, threats, and humiliations Harold had orchestrated years ago. Emails linked him directly, proving patterns of abuse and suppression. Lena stared in disbelief. He lied to everyone, she whispered. I nodded. Not just lied. He built a wall around his truth. And now, we have the first crack. The adrenaline coursed through me, but I stayed methodical. Nothing impulsive. I began organizing the documents, cross-referencing dates, linking the testimony with the promotion timeline. Each piece fit together, a mosaic of truth that Harold could no longer hide. I realized the scale. This wasn't just revenge, it was justice. Every email, every note, every piece of proof had to be perfect. Lena's DNA results arrived the next morning, the final piece connecting Harold to her. The envelope trembled in my hands, a final seal of fate. I carefully opened it, revealing the DNA results. Lena's eyes widened. Mine stung with anticipation. Positive. 99.8%. Harold was her father. I held her as she sobbed quietly, the rain outside the window echoing our relief and tension. This was it, the evidence that could not be disputed. The buried file from HR, the photograph, the emails, and now the DNA. The pieces were complete. Our path to confronting Harold and exposing the truth was clear. But I knew patience was vital. If Harold detected even a hint of our plan, he could manipulate, threaten, or destroy the evidence. I promised Lena calm, deliberate, strategic action. Every step was ours to control. The board, the promotion, Harold's reputation, all would be challenged in the light of truth. By the end of the day, the board summoned Harold for an urgent review, unaware that the storm was already set in motion. The envelope trembled in my hands. Lena's fingers shook, too, as I carefully opened it. The test results stared back at us in black and white, 99.8% probability. Harold was her father. Her body sagged, a mix of relief, fear, and disbelief. Tears streamed silently, her sobs small but wrenching. I pulled her close, feeling her heartbreak echo my own past humiliation at Harold's hands. "Everything we suspected," I whispered. "It's real." Her hands clutched mine, trembling. The world felt heavy, yet charged with anticipation. I realized then that this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice, about finally correcting years of lies and neglect. I tapped my phone, alerting the board of Harold's presence. "They'll summon him," I murmured. Lena's eyes widened. "But they can't. He's so careful. He always covers his tracks." I smiled faintly, the first spark of strategy forming. "Not this time. We have everything we need." Outside, the Chicago wind rattled the windows. The rain had eased but left streets glistening, reflective like the tense mood that settled over us. This was the moment the game shifted. Harold's empire was about to be challenged in a way he never imagined. And I knew, coldly, methodically, that I would see it unfold. The board summons Harold for an urgent review. I waited as Harold's name lit up on my phone. The message was short, desperate, almost pleading. "We need to talk." My pulse raced, not from fear, but anticipation. His control, his arrogance had never faltered before. Now the cracks were showing. I agreed to meet him, but on my terms. No office games, no threats. This was no longer about his power, it was about truth. When I arrived, he greeted me with his usual composure, but it faltered. His hands twitched, and the familiar smugness had vanished, replaced by a flicker of panic I had never seen. "I know what you're thinking," he said, trying to regain authority. "You don't understand," his voice wavered. I stayed calm, letting silence hang between us like a storm cloud. Then, slowly, deliberately, I slid the first piece of evidence across the table, a photograph of Lena's mother and Harold, arms around each other, smiles frozen in time. He froze, eyes narrowing, then widening as recognition dawned. "I thought this would never come back," he muttered, almost under his breath. I had only begun to reveal the truth. What else would he do when the rest came to light? We stood in the glass office, the city lights reflecting off the walls, sharp and cold. Harold's office had always been his fortress. Tonight, it felt like a cage. He accused me of sabotage, of plotting behind his back. I let him talk, measured, calm, letting the tension tighten like a wire. "I'm not here to destroy you," I said softly. "I'm here to show you the truth." I placed another document before him, a series of emails, old and undeniable. His composure cracked further as he scanned them. The arrogance, the self-assured superiority, gave way to panic and disbelief. You can't," he stammered. "This changes nothing." But it did. Every suppressed detail, every cover-up, every manipulated file was now laid bare. His empire of control, built over decades, had a crack wide enough to see daylight. I watched his knuckles whiten as he gripped the desk, the first real display of fear I had ever seen from him. The man who had mocked, belittled, and dismissed me now faced an unstoppable reckoning. HR enters, summoning Harold to an urgent investigation meeting, now. Harold stormed into the boardroom, beads of sweat on his brow, his tie slightly askew. The board's icy stares pinned him in place. I felt no triumph, only quiet satisfaction. The documents lay before them, emails, photographs, DNA results, every piece of evidence meticulously collected. He tried to spin the story, blaming Lena's mother, claiming manipulation, weaving half-truths, but the board had read everything. One by one he faltered. The careful narrative he'd constructed crumbled under the weight of truth. His words lost power, his tone desperate. I remained silent, seated at the side, calm and collected. The air was thick with tension, every second stretched, making his unraveling almost cinematic. His face drained of color as a board member finally said, "We've verified everything. Please smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a revenge story. Drop your comments if you've ever been betrayed." The room was quiet, the only sound is ragged breathing. Security quietly approached, waiting for the signal. Harold's empire, his control, his reputation, everything he had clung to, was collapsing around him. He is suspended immediately. His title revoked. Security waits outside as he packs his office. And I am asked to step aside for a private word with the board. I was escorted to a smaller conference room, where a senior board member looked at me gravely. "You handled this with integrity," he said, almost in awe. "Now, we need to review the full scope of Harold's actions." Back in the main boardroom, Harold faced an inquiry he couldn't control. His badge was removed, his office cleared, and his allies fell silent. Every suppressed complaint, every hush payment, every pattern of manipulation surfaced. His empire was no longer his. I stayed in the shadows, observing. The board systematically questioned him, verifying documents, testing every claim, and every lie collapsed under the evidence I had helped provide. His arrogance became desperation. His control slipped, thread by thread. Lena's presence, her truth, hung silently like a sword over him. The board concluded, and the sentence was inevitable: suspension, demotion, permanent records. Justice, methodical and patient, had arrived, not for revenge, but for truth. Harold's downfall is sealed, but the real power question remains. What role would I take now, and what would happen to Lena? Harold was escorted out by security, his once commanding presence reduced to trembling steps. Boxes packed with years of pride, accolades, and files followed him, the silent testimony of a life built on arrogance and lies. His office, once a fortress of control, now sat empty, reflecting the emptiness his deception had sown. I watched from the sidelines as the board confirmed his suspension and revoked his title. The room buzzed with a mix of relief and tension. Employees whispered, some shocked, others quietly vindicated. Justice had arrived, not with a bang, but with methodical precision. A private assistant approached me, leaning in. "The board wants to see you outside for a private word." My pulse quickened. This could change everything. The weight of months of investigation, sleepless nights, and careful planning pressed against my shoulders, yet I stood calm. I had earned this. As I stepped into the quiet hallway, I glimpsed Harold for the last time, head down, dignity stripped, a man who had underestimated everyone around him. The world had shifted, and I could feel the balance of power tipping unmistakably toward the truth. The board offers me a position that Harold had always denied me. The boardroom was silent when I entered. A senior member spoke, voice steady. "You've handled this with integrity. We want to offer you a permanent leadership role, something Harold never believed you deserved." Shock hit me. The promotion was more than recognition, it was validation. Years of being underestimated, ignored, and humiliated had led to this precise moment. I didn't smile immediately. Instead, I asked the question that had weighed heavily on my heart. "And Lena?" The board nodded. "She will have full support, closure, and recognition. Her rights and her truth matter to us." Relief and warmth surged through me. I realized that this wasn't just my victory. Lena's life, her future, and her sense of self had been restored as well. As I signed preliminary documents, I felt a weight lift from my chest. Months of methodical planning, patience, and courage had led to this. I had played no petty games. Every move was deliberate, every action measured. Lena finally confronts Harold, face to face. Lena entered the boardroom with hesitant steps. Harold, still pale and shaken, rose from his chair. He reached out, words faltering. Lena, she froze, her gaze sharp, unwavering. "No more lies," she said, voice calm but firm. Every ounce of pain, betrayal, and longing from her childhood was embedded in that simple sentence. Harold's hand dropped midair. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The board had arranged for an official acknowledgement of her status, and the weight of authority and legality strengthened her resolve. Lena handed him the document. Her eyes met mine briefly, a silent thank you for guiding her through the storm. For the first time, Harold faced the daughter he had never known. And she faced the man who had abandoned her, empowered, in control, unshaken. The office was quiet, tension thick, but no one could ignore the truth that had finally emerged. Harold signs the document with trembling hands, the last shred of his dignity slipping away. Harold's signature on the formal acknowledgement was hesitant, shaky, almost like the final hammer striking a fragile coffin. He handed it over, his last shred of control gone. The board watched silently, and employees whispered behind closed doors. He left the building alone, box in hand, head down. The man who once mocked family obligations, who dismissed me publicly, and tried to erase Lena from existence, now walked out with nothing but the truth as his companion. I remained in the boardroom with Lena. The weight of the moment pressed down, heavy but satisfying. Justice hadn't been delivered with vengeance. It was earned through truth, patience, and integrity. The city lights outside reflected on the polished floors, shimmering like the life ahead, bright, untainted by deception. Lena leaned close. "What happens now?" she whispered. I smiled softly, the calm after the storm settling around us. The path forward was ours. My career and her future are about to begin anew. Weeks later, I returned to the company, but this time, it was on my terms. My new office overlooked the Chicago skyline, a corner office, a symbol of earned respect. Harold was gone, permanently removed from the corporate world, undone by the truth he had buried for decades. Lena began her life anew, confident, independent, and free from the shadows of neglect. I thrived not because I had destroyed Harold, but because I refused to break the way he expected. Every decision, every calculated move, had led to this moment. Then, a final envelope arrived from the board. Inside, a permanent contract, the exact position Harold had once fought to keep for me. I held it, a quiet triumph warming my chest. The man who mocked family issues had lost everything to the daughter he abandoned. And the woman he tried to humiliate now held the power, not with cruelty, but with integrity and perseverance. I looked out at the city, rain-washed streets glittering below. Justice, patience, and truth had prevailed. And for the first time, I allowed myself to feel the sweet, unshakable calm of victory. The board's recognition ensured not only my rise but Lena's permanent closure, a poetic justice neither of us would forget.